Hello, it's Istaria again. I'm here in Kouvola at the foreclosure agency.
So, this video requires a little bit of backstory. Me and my girlfriend have been looking for a new home for a little while now. We are pretty frugal, so we have been focusing on something that is so cheap that we can buy it outright. We dislike big cities, so it has to be out in the country, and preferably in a very quiet location, but with some good road connections in case we need to go anywhere. So, with this in mind, we have been looking mostly from the foreclosure market, since you can find some real nice discounts there, as opposed to the open market where people aren't forced to sell and thus are less open to negotiations. This particular house you see in the background was first up for auction in March of 2020. We left a bid on it, not expecting to win, without even seeing the house in person. The price climbed up only to 11,500 euros in an open auction, and somehow we ended up with the highest bid. However, a few days after, the bank declined our offer, saying that it is too low. We were not surprised and actually kind of relieved since we hadn't even seen the house in person at this point. A month or two later, the house was back on the auction. This time we actually went to see it in person before the end of the auction and were very positively surprised by what we saw. The auction ended up at 250 euros less than the first one, with us placing the highest bid once again. This time the bank wanted to negotiate. They wanted us to up our offer and come meet them in the middle. I told them I'm only paying market price and the negotiations dried up. A week or so later, the house was back up for the third time. We won the auction again, this time at 775 less than the first time. And because of the Finnish foreclosure law, they had no choice but to sell it to us or cancel the foreclosure process altogether. This would have meant adding a year or two to liquidating the house, so they didn't even try to negotiate, but instead agreed to the price right away. One of the perks of buying this house is that the foreclosure agency allows payment via a debit card. They first wanted me to pay via bank transfer, but I insisted on making the purchase with a card. They told me no one ever chooses that option, probably because they do not accept credit cards. But luckily the MCO Visa card is a debit card, so it does not come with such restrictions. Due to the ongoing pandemic, they weren't open at regular hours, but we managed to set up a time and proceeded to meet in person for the card purchase. This was a perfect opportunity to grab a little bit of cash back for using the amazing MCO Visa card. I know it's not the biggest purchase people have made with the card, but I'm not sure if anyone else has bought a house before, so I was pretty excited to make the payment.
Nice.
Hyvä tämä.
Kyllä,
Ota vaan
loistavaa.
sortti.
You may be wondering how on earth this house can be so cheap. It was actually listed on the open market for 65,000 euros, but since the area is quite in the middle of nowhere, no one wanted to buy it. What is a plus for us is a big negative for most people. Kouvola has a pretty bad reputation in Finland as far as cities go. This doesn't really affect us, however, because we are quite far out. The job opportunities in the area are extremely poor, so it's not exactly something people flock to. Naturally, in a forced sale situation like this, a lack of potential buyers can have a drastic effect on the price.